Well, hello and welcome to Over the Vast Nurseries on a nice sunny, but yes, you've guessed it, another windy day here in the nurseries. It seems like when we're growing plants out in the open here that the wind is certainly causing us, as you see, lots of movement in our plants. But in a way that's okay, because these trees have to stand up to conditions in your garden just like they do here in the nursery. And so in a way you're kind of seeing it in a realistic setting. And one of the little trees I want to show you is this beautiful flowering variety of crabapple. This is a variety called Malus Show Time, introduced by proven winners. Now, as you see, the leaves are just now beginning to emerge. They come out with this lovely reddish coloring. As they go through the summertime, they take on more of a green shade, but all the time retain a kind of bronze red coloration. But the reason I'm showing you this tree today, of course, is because of these gorgeous flowers. Just look at these beautiful fuchsia red flowers that are carried in profusion even on these young trees. And that's one of the features about flowering crabapples, is that young vigorous plants like this, believe it or not, flower stronger and more concentrated as they get into a more mature stage. So as nice as these plants look like now with lots of flowers on them, I can tell you that when they're growing in your garden, you can look forward to even more impressive flowering than is on these plants. What's neat about this tree is that it doesn't grow too big. It only grows about 25 foot tall by about 15 or 20 foot wide, kind of an oval shaped head on it. So it's an ideal size for the average home garden. Add to that the fact that it's a nice vigorous grower with good disease resistance, and I think you can begin to see why this is definitely one that merits a place in your garden. Then let me add that our trees here on the nursery are all grown in pots. Now that's good because of course that gives you the opportunity to transplant them over a longer period. It also means that they're easy to move, and it also means that whenever you take them home and dig a good-sized hole, at least twice the size of the pot, and incorporate plenty of organic matter, you'll find that they get off to a terrific start because there's no transplanting shock. Basically, the way we grow them here in these containers is that we go through a special process that means that they have a really nice fibrous root system. So when you take the pot off and put it in the ground, the roots immediately get out into the ground, and therefore they get off to a terrific start. Add to that the fact that we also put in the compost a slow release fertilizer that means that they continue to receive nutrient after you've planted them. Now this lovely variety is really good because it gives so much long concentrated interest through the season. Springtime, you get these beautiful flowers. Nice bronze tinted foliage during the summertime, and then of course those cherry red little persistent fruit that last well through the wintertime and provide nourishment for small birds and so on too. So really good, really tough, nice and hardy and reliable, and the perfect size for people's gardens. What's more is that this is a variety that was introduced by the late Jim Zampini from Lake County Nurseries in Ohio. What's interesting is that he was talking one day to Les Nichols, a Penn State Extension officer, and when they were talking about the possibilities in future varieties that might be introduced to American gardeners, they decided that the crabapples, or Malus as they're known botanically, held a lot more potential. So they started to look around and talked within the industry to various people. And one of the men that they talked to was a professor emeritus at Michigan University, Professor Milton Barron, a wonderful advert for gardening because he lived to the ripe old age of 101. But he had an eye for good plants, and he raised this seedling in 1980, introduced it to Jim, and then after a period of evaluation, it was introduced first in 1989. So as you see, here's a terrific, really good flowering crabapple that definitely is worth your while looking at and perhaps considering, even if you do have a fairly windy site. This is Malus Show Time, a terrific flowering crabapple that I hope you get a chance to grow if you have a space for it.